Hello, this is the Browns River Environmental Health Assessment, voiced and written by Sophie, Hannah, James, and Tegan.
What is a healthy environment? The first thing you need to know is what an ecosystem is. An ecosystem is a community where living things, plants and animals, and even bacteria interact with non-living things like water, air, and soil. It's pretty fascinating. But now, have you heard of a watershed? It's basically a land area where all water, whether it's rain or snow, drains into a common place, like rivers or lakes. Think of it as a big water catchment area. But here's an important question. How do human activities affect watershed and streams? When we build cities or cut down trees, it can cause pollution, increase runoff, and even damage habitats for aquatic creatures. And why are streams and ecosystems so important? Well, they give us clean water, homes for many species, and help control floods. Plus, they're a key player in water and carbon cycles. This is what a healthy environment looks like.
Health of a stream ecosystem can be measured through the combination of biological monitoring of macroinvertebrates, chemical testing, and physical assessments. These processes use indicators to show the health of a stream, such as the prevalence of certain macroinvertebrates, dissolved oxygen, pH levels, flow rate, and channel structure. One way to measure stream health is monitoring the prevalence of macroinvertebrates. A macroinvertebrate is an animal without a backbone that can be seen by the human eye. Common examples of macroinvertebrates in streams include crawfish, fly larvae, and leeches. Macroinvertebrates are crucial to stream ecosystems because they are vital to food webs. They serve as prey for many organisms in stream ecosystem and are needed for decomposition and nutrient cycling. It is important to understand the surrounding physical area of a stream as well, and how it shows how the physical habitat and flow dynamics affect the water's quality, biological diversity, and the accuracy of your sampling. With knowledge of the physical area, sources of pollution can be found and habitat quality can be assessed. A chemical test measures a body of water's dissolved substances and assesses the water quality for drinking and aquatic life. There are key tests which include a pH test. This assesses the acidity and alkalinity. To see if water has a safe pH, you can know that the range for drinking water is 6.8 to 8.5. Another test for the water is the TSD, which is the total dissolved solids tested in the water that measure the total amount of minerals and salts in the water. Dissolved oxygen. Another example is dissolved oxygen, which measures the amount of oxygen gas dissolved in the water. This is essential for the survival of fish and other aquatic organisms. There's also a nitrates test, which measures the amount of nitrogen, often from sewage and fertilizer. This test could tell us if there's a high amount of hardness, which can lead to clay residues in pipes, and that can affect the taste of tap water. This environmental health assessment shows short-term trends of the stream's health, as factors such as chemical makeup of the river and macroinvertebrate diversity due to pollution could change fast. The chemical makeup of a stream can be influenced by day-to-day events that can cause levels to fluctuate heavily. One example is the weather. Weather can push sediment into the river, temporarily increasing the amount of pollutants in the water. Another example is that dissolved oxygen levels of the stream fluctuate heavily between day and night, as photosynthesis does not occur at night. These fluctuations directly affect the diversity of macroinvertebrates in the stream because certain macroinvertebrates are intolerant to pollution. With more or less pollution in an environment, different macroinvertebrate species will be more prevalent. Another reason this data is short-term is that physical measurements such as weather change on the daily, and factors such as canopy cover will completely change seasonally as there is more or less foliage. This shows that the data we collected shows a snapshot of the river's health with certain conditions that will change over time.
When we went to Brown Rivers, Westford, and Fairfax, we did chemical, physical, and biological testing. When we did these tests, it was a cold, windy day with overcast. In the physical assessment table, you can see that the velocity at the Westford location was higher than at Fairfax by around 0.35 meters per second. The percent of embedment rock at the Westford location was a lot higher. This could be that the velocity of the water pushed the rocks in the bottom of the river. Both of the turbidities at the location were very low, but that is good for the organisms in the river because they are getting a lot of sunlight. For the biological testing, we collected macroinvertebrates and recorded what kind they were and how many there were. Most of the macroinvertebrates were intolerant, meaning they can only survive in clean, healthy bodies of water, meaning the water of each location must be clean. In the table for the chemical testing, you can see that the pH levels, temperature, and phosphate levels were around the same. The two things that were recorded that were different at each location was the conductivity and dissolved oxygen. Because Brown River Fairfax has a higher conductivity, it means it has more dissolved ions in the water, and this could make the salinity of the water higher than at the Westford location. The amount of dissolved oxygen at the Westford location was a lot higher than the Fairfax location. The more dissolved oxygen, the more suitable it is for organisms that need oxygen to survive.
As I observe Browns River, I notice that its water quality improves as we move from Westford to Fairfax, getting closer to the Lamoille River. This makes sense because Browns River is a tributary of the Lamoille, which eventually flows into Lake Champlain. According to the river continuum concept, a river's physical and biological features gradually change from the headwaters to mouth. And this pattern aligns with what we see here. The water quality gets better near the confluence. The main land uses in the watershed are farms, roads, and forests. Based on the data, I'd rate the water quality as a B-, since temperature and pH are within normal ranges, dissolved oxygen is acceptable, but there are concerns like high turbidity, a fishy odor, and elevated orthophosphates in some areas. To maintain good health, factors like pH, oxygen, nitrate levels, macroinvertebrate presence, and embeddedness need to stay stable. However, to improve the river, we should focus on reducing conductivity, orthophosphates, and turbidity. Keeping these factors in check and making these improvements can help ensure Browns River remains healthy.